over here, so y'all. Thank y'all for being here. This is extremely important, something that this subcommittee has been working on for quite a while, and it's very, very concerned with. Obviously, this is a national security issue and an economic issue at the same time, and we have to make sure that the U.S. has the capabilities to combat all of these threats. Mr. Lewis, let me start with you. According to 2018 CSIS analysis, the U.S. has likely lost $600 billion due to Chinese cyber espionage. You think that's still accurate today? You think that figure is probably accurate, or do you estimate that number is higher or lower?
Thank you. Unfortunately, the number is considerably higher. The Chinese have made borrowing American intellectual property a cornerstone of their economic growth.
Borrowing?
Well, they'll give it back if you ask nicely.
Yeah, right. But obviously, it's having an economic impact on our country.
In many ways. First, Americans are paying for R&D that the Chinese can then get advantage of. Second, in some cases, a good example would be Nortel. Nortel, now out of business because of this, did the research, started building the products. Chinese espionage provided it to Huawei, who put the product on the market before Nortel could, and so Nortel lost the market share. So in terms of market competition, in terms of research and development,
absolutely.
we are
It's really difficult to say how much economically that it has impacted us.
We've done a number of surveys, and other people have as well, and it suggests that the global cost is now in the billions of dollars. A good rule of thumb is it's roughly equivalent to the narcotics trade. Still less, but roughly equivalent.
Wow. Ms. Gorman, as you know, the Countering CCP Drones Act would place DJI technologies on the FCC's covered list. Agencies such as the FBI and CISA have built a substantial record for this ban. However, it takes a lot of time to do that and a lot of resources. How should Congress, how should we approach building records for other companies with CCP connections that have equipment and critical infrastructures?
Well, thank you for the question. I think we need to start by developing a framework for what we're really, really concerned about. And there could be many dimensions of this. In the case of DJI, one element of it is the data collection capacity. So we need to start by laying out what are the risks that we're really worried about, and then look at industries to build those records where there are companies that clearly have a market dominant position that are violating some of these principles we're talking about. And we need a better analytical capacity across the federal government to do that as well.
Fair enough, thank you. Mr. Lewis, back to you. We know that China hackers take advantage of almost every vulnerability throughout the internet infrastructure. If certain routers have known vulnerabilities, how does this undermine security measures of other vendors, such as hosting services or ISPs that are used to prevent unwarranted attacks?
Our opponents in espionage are both inventive and well-resourced, and so there's recently been a series of hacks where the target of the intended hack is pretty good at defending itself. But the people who work there in their small office or home office, routers and equipment, may not be as well defended. So it's a useful avenue to get into the target. I may not be able to get into your office, but there's a fair chance I can get into your basement. And that's the risk.
Great. Mr. Singleton, we know that the Chinese collect all sorts of data, including biometric data, which is concerning. I remember that when I first got here, one of the things that I learned is that some of these agents, some of these heredity agents, programs, whatever, that they get this information, and some of them are owned by Chinese companies. What can they do with that kind of information, do you think?
Millions of Americans have had their DNA sequenced by certain other American companies. The DNA gets sequenced back in mainland China, and the American consumer isn't even aware that their genomic data has been transferred to DNA banks in China. The People's Liberation Army plays a key role in China's genomic research and its genomic bank. BGI, another well-known Chinese biotechnology company with links to the People's Liberation Army, also is at the forefront of thinking about research that could support the PLAs, and it almost sounds like a joke, but it's real, the super soldier program that they have talked about and written about extensively, the development of targeted viruses that can target particular DNA receptors of other ethnicities. I just don't think we fully understand and grasp how the biotechnology sector is going to impact our everyday lives in ways that are both good and potentially malign. The concern, again, is that BGI is the market champion.
Great. Thank y'all all for being here, and I'll yield back.
Thank you. The gentleman yields back. The chair now